Ladies, gentlemen, everyone in between, welcome to the Valence League Best of 5 finals here for Division 4 between 7 Deadly Sins and Inca Turn. My name is Samuel Initialized Hapgood. I'll be your play-by-play commentator for this evening, and you'll be joined by my co-pilot and co-caster, Alexander Nymera Hapgood. How are you doing, bro?
I'm doing okay, and I'll be bringing up the back end of explaining things which I don't truly understand
That
on Summoner's Rift.
like
things which we see in the Valence League are beyond description, as I'm sure
Beyond
those
science.
of you who are beyond science. I'm sure many of you common watchers will be aware of. So, taking up the blue side for game 1 today will be 7 Deadly Sins looking to tap into that Sin of Wrath, bringing it to Inca Turn on the other side there. It's worth noting 7 Deadly Sins have not dropped a single game.
Damn, that is pretty impressive, whatever league you're in. But of course, taking on the red side for this first match of our best of 5, it will be, of course, the bird, the plane. Well, actually, in fact, it is a bird. It will be Inca Turn over on the red side.
Looking to be, in fact, Supermen, though, here. They are underdogs. They are. The last time they faced off against 7 Deadly Sins, it was a 0-2. They lost them pretty handily. I mean, it wasn't the complete shutout that you might expect from that kind of series. But however, they are still going to be looking to punch above their weight. And in a best of 5, what a better way to do it. You can adapt throughout the series, try and get the better mental edge over your opponent throughout the drafts, in subsequent games, and see if you can come out with some big return games, even if you lose the first couple.
That's exactly it. But they put themselves in a bit of a hole in the fact that they are missing their regular season jungler in Bauer, who is not here this evening. He will not be in. In fact, Inca Turn did seem to fall into the Deadly Sins traps, got caught by that sin of Sloth, were late to lock in their roster as well, so they're going to be missing their first 3 bans. Not the easiest position to come into this best of 5, missing a jungler, missing bans.
So, of course, we've cast Valence League for a little while now, and we have had a number of games where game 1, there is a team which has been stumped by those game 1 bans. I think that Inca being the underdogs, as I've said, coming into game 1 against side select from 7 Deadly Sins as well. They've chosen blue side, and presumably getting an edge over them in that sense. Losing bans, not having side selects, and then, having lost them before. Game 1 is not where I think the series is going to be decided. I think it's going to be how Inca recover from that, if it is a bad game, or even if it is back and forth, just make headway off of that game 1.
Sure. I mean, there are some things we've seen bans, or lack of bans, actually end up tilting drafts so wildly because so many picks are left open that just aren't normally, that it does end up changing the way the game is played as a result of it. The other thing it kind of prevents at this particular level of play is it means you can't ban out one tricks. I'm aware that on the Deadly Sins side, there's a literal bard main called Chime Bright, and there's no way you're going to ban that away from the guy. Like, there's one of those things where you kind of go, can we ban the one trick away? Like, no, we can't.
No. I mean, he does play the likes of Morgana as well. He has some picks, but no one really quite. Sorry, Chime. My bad. I'm sorry, production.
Sorry, my bad. I'm sorry. That's actually very inappropriate.
That's why we say they. We don't assume.
I know. It was my bad. I'm the worst. And literally after my introduction as well, where I was so inclusive, and then I messed up big time. I'm the worst.
You are. You know who is going to be the worst though? I don't know.
I don't know. That's what this best of 5 is to find out.
That's what we're here to find out.
And of course, as a reminder, guys, the winner of this best of 5 does move up to Division 3. There's quite a lot on the line here, and of course, 7 Deadly Sins come in as favourite, but they've still got to put their money where their mouths are and win this series versus contenders Inca Turn.
Contenders they may be, and contenders towards that Division 3 spot. Winner of the series goes directly into that division. There is no playoff, promotion, relegation. It is just a straight best of 5, and you are in. Now is the time to prove your worth.
Well, we are here into picks and bans, into Champ Select for game 1. It will be, of course, 7 Deadly Sins on the blue side. And that will be Honest Sleep, Ice Arrows, Shadow Hopper, Craft, and of course, Chime Bright, our bard main we've already alluded to.
We've introduced the 7 Deadly Sins. Time for Inca Turn on the red side in game 1. Hodgson in the top lane. A Raging Platypus not in the mid lane, but in the jungle. Yune in there instead. And in the bot lane, it will be, as always, Samvete and MacMan31.
Indeed it is. And as you're seeing, Inca don't have those
They have invisible bans.
They have invisible bans.
So what it is when you go to pick the champion, which they've invisibly banned.
It's level 6 Evelyn. That's all it is.
I was about to say I was gonna go this whole thing with like, oh, it's an invisible ban. You pick it, and you lose the game. It's like Battleship.
Battleship, or
Minesweeper.
Minesweeper, but with bans. I love it.
Welcome to the Valence League Minesweeper division.
That sounds unfortunately like the client in general. So we clicked the wrong thing. Like, I have no friends list this time. Oh, look at this. I can't select my champion. My runes have decided they're going to be. I'm going to get Glacial Augment. What would be really awful with Glacial? Lee Sin. Glacial Augment Lee Sin.
Never say that to me again. Because
Lee Song,
we've seen Predator Rammus mid.
We have seen Predator.
We have seen the dark depths of depravity in Champions. Like that is, that's I don't know which sin that would fall in. Maybe it's an entirely new sin.
It's an entirely new sin.
Bad champion. It's a Lee sin. It's a Lee sin. The 8th sin was the Lee sin. Only with Glacial Element.
Saving that. That's beautiful. All right, well. This is an educational stream, as we've just proved. That's the last non-invisible Minesweeper ban out of the way. Hovering Annie first pick, I somehow doubt it, but there's always the potential. LS out there, extraordinarily happy to see it, but the Rammus hover, they heard us. They know Predator Rammus mid would be the way to truly embody their name, bring out that 8th sin.
Yes, I'm good.
Really, well, they actually do is they lock in Kaiser, which is a takeaway from Sam Verte as well. If you remember, we cast that man putting out a beautiful pentakill earlier on the split.
And one of the things I would say about Kraft, and also in regards to Chimebright, is that Kraft normally plays quite self-sufficient carries. Yes, you play stuff like Xayah, Aphelios, Kaiser, the do-it-all AD carries. The very few that do. Ezreal kind of fits into that mold as well.
Yes.
And what that allows is for Chimebright to pick up these very high agency, high roaming supports like the Bard, like the Morgana, and take control of the game with your own Ghibli-like hands.
Yes.
Ghibli-like hands.
Yeah, why Ghibli?
Because it's Bard.
He is the Studio Ghibli. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Studio Ghibli, the character.
Indeed. The response here, to move back onto it, is we've got Jarvan locked in for Platypus, we're assuming. That is bit more of a go button. I'll come back to the Ghibli moment later, but we're going to stick with this for a second. And Aphelios is the response. Anybody who was watching the LEC last night saw the 4 versus 1, saw the 14 stack chakram play. We know what this champion can do with a couple hundred years and a couple hundred chakrams to his name.
Chakrams, yes. Honestly, if you start out, you attack like a good 10 times. You have sent out 100 chakrams.
That's it.
Well, not even that. Also worth noting, guys, that these finals will be live tweeted on the Twitter.
We get live tweet access into coverage as well. This is going to be that level of production.
You saw the UKLC on BBC. We are now going to see Valence League on Twitter. It's the same thing. We're professional.
We are that professional. Lock-ins to keep an eye on. Wukong locked in, so powerful right now. Add in a Nautilus as well. Kaiser hits the R button, and suddenly everybody turns up on top of a team.
Sure. But my problem now from 7 Deadly Sins is that they have shown they are doing anti-dive. I love the Vigar ban from them in regards to that. Vigar's so good at denying dive.
Yes.
You put down the baby cage, and suddenly it's like, well, Kaiser can't jump through it because your ultimate's a dash, and the cage stops dashes, and it will stun you in place, and then you die horribly. But how many other anti-dive picks do Inca have? They have stuff like Zyra. They could definitely play that. Magman has that.
Nami's not bad if you can get a tidal wave off.
Nami's not bad either. The Leona, of course. Oh wait, no, the Braum's been locked in.
Braum has been locked in.
Locked in. Oh, that's like okay. No, but Braum's pretty good. Braum's pretty good at that. But
so we're sad, and then we think about what the champion does, and we go, hooray! Glacial Fissure.
Problem is, I'm looking at my postcards, and I'm like, Champ Select. Who needs that?
Who needs Champ Select? We need Champ Select.
I desperately need Champ Select.
They've taken away Hodgson's Mundo.
Yes.
Thank goodness for that. I am still traumatized by watching what appeared to be Godzilla assaulting the fountain in the enemy base.
All over the Japanese references.
I am, but we've been casting the LGL over the weekend, so it's kind of been stuck in my head.
So it's on the mind. So Syndra banned away from Shadowhopper. Right, last time these two teams played, there was a Syndra victory on the side of 7 Deadly Sins. It's been in the recent memory, in the recent match history between these two teams. I love the Ornn ban. It's one of those other counter-engaged picks.
Yeah.
And also because the Braum's been locked in and the Wukong's been locked in, you're not going to pick that Ornn yourself, even if you had wanted to shift that Wukong to jungle or mid, which you probably shouldn't do anyway.
That's another good
Maokai's
bit
pretty
of
good,
CC. That Nature's Advance does.
Nature's Grasp.
Nature's Grasp, Twisting Advance.
Twisted Advance.
I do this every time I
Bramble
cast this
Smash and Sapling Toss.
I remember. I'm there. I just conflate Twisted Advance with Nature's Grasp like all the time. It's horrific, and I know the difference. I do.
Well,
I spent literally a whole afternoon getting it right, and I just get it wrong every time it comes back
well,
up.
not to deflate that bubble there instead of
Sad
conflate.
times.
It's going to be the Gnar against that Maokai in the top lane, which means this is going to be a Wukong somewhere else on the map, either in the jungle or the mid lane.
I've seen Kaiser played the Wukong support the other day. Could be north to the mid.
That only really works because it was Senna, because it allows the Wukong to farm up.
Stop deflating my hopes and dreams, but instead
there was actually about to be another bubble to be popped, the Zoe being hovered, but it's in fact Cassiopeia instead. Yes. This gives the extra scaling option alongside the Kaiser. Kaiser, of course, does a lot of damage in the late game, arguably outscaled by Aphelios, particularly because Kaiser doesn't build Death Stance that often, and if you don't build Death Stance, your late game can be a little less assured than the likes of Aphelios. And we get my old main picked into the mid lane for Inca turn. Ari's been picked. If this is a Glacial pick, I like it quite a lot. Okay. Actually, I mean, I like it in both ways. I mean, if you go for Electrocute, you can start trying to solo kill the Cassiopeia. You need to be good on your chums, and if you take cleanse in that mid lane, it can be a bit difficult because you get out DPS by Cassiopeia because DPS is the name of the game with that snake. But if you take the Glacial, it helps against the Gnar, helps against the Wukong, definitely helps against the Nautilus. And if Kaiser gets caught by it too, that really does set up for your Aphelios to do a lot of work in team fights.
There you have it. The Million Mastery Point, the Diamond Ari one trick. He's here to judge the play of Standing Yoon as well. I've got a joke for you actually regarding you. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Yoon.
Yoon who?
Yoon who? This would be a bad joke. Why did you ask? Oh, yes. Let's hope the Ari play of Yoon is going to be better than that joke that I just traumatized my brother with. I can.
You know,
I really can.
And you know, I'm so sad. I'm going to resort to gambling. If you are checking the Twitch chat, guys, there is betting until the timer ends in chat. So you can spend your coins on who you think is going to win outside of these two teams. No, that laptop is not working, Sam. Don't press it.
I was hoping there would be the Discord on that, which would be really helpful.
No. Oh, potentially it could be. That's a good point. Maybe I could do that.
See, I've got these great plans. But remember, guys, to bring it back to more important casting points, aside from our slight hash up of the laptop second screen here, betting is live. Get those votes in. See who you think is going to have this one. Interesting drafts from both sides. We've got Dive versus that kind of anti-dive with a little bit of pick. We've got a lot of CC on both sides. We've got two pretty high-profile lady carries in this particular division going at it with two pretty powerful lady carries at their right moments.
Yes.
Hit 3 items on both of these champions and they can absolutely solo win you a team fight.
Yes. So, the eggs are very much within the Samvete basket, and you know, being nesting birds, the Inca turns will know how to protect those eggs.
Yeah, gotta hope.
Unless
they're actually Superman, and my intro does prove wrong. Gotta hope.
I like a lot of what Inca turn are doing. I think that if you go for something like a Lulu in the mid lane, Aphelios is legitimately your only hope in that game. Luckily, there's no super tank on the side of Seven Deadly Sins. The Aphelios will always be doing good damage. It's not like you've got a Scion. It's not like you've got a Maokai of their own right, an Ornn, something like that, which the Aphelios can sometimes have a couple of issues with, particularly if he's getting dove at the same time. But going with the Ari and the Jarvan, you then have this duo with a huge initiation range. If you do catch out the Kaiser or the Cassiopeia, you can catch them out with a Cataclysm into Spirit Rush combo between those mid-jungle 2v2. Of course, then going back to Seven Deadly Sins, because I've been talking about Inca turn quite a lot, of course they have so many diving options. The Cassiopeia might end up being left out of that, but what that does mean is that if Jarvan and Maokai end up diving in their own right, Cassiopeia does the same thing to them, which Inca turn wants to do with the divers of Seven Deadly Sins. Both of these teams will be looking for those key initiations and how they survive said initiations.
There you have it. Watch the initiation. Watch for how it's turned around.
Watch out for those wrist rockets.
Yeah, that's the one. My eyes are probably going to be pretty heavily focused on that mid and bot lane. There is all to play for around those lanes, I feel like. And with Wukong and Jarvan as well, levels hits for both of those junglers, and the go button is real.
Oh, all of the ultimates in this game are going to be immensely impactful. We have so many engaging disengage ults, so many high damage ults. Makes your job nice. Look at the pretty colors. They're doing things.
Yes. Well, let's see if my voice holds up, because it's going to be catastrophic in those team fights. I can't wait. Cataclysmic, indeed. I was going to save that for in-game.
Fissurous.
You've ruined it.
I don't know what that means.
You put a fissure between us in the casting. I'm
Okay,
so disappointed.
So you can go get your own mic now.
Our brother confidentiality and trust. But we've got about 2 seconds before we go to a spectator loading screen, at which point we'll go to a quick video and we will see you on the Rift. Go nowhere. Game 1 will be back just after this. We're on to the Rift, ladies and gentlemen, for Game 1 between 7 Deadly Sins and Inca Turn. It's the moment you've been waiting for. It's the Division 5 Finals. It's a best of 5.
Wait.
All the bragging rights.
Wait. You mean they weren't just waiting for us to cast? That's what the production told me.
That's what we were convinced to be here. I'm so sorry, man. It's gonna be okay. It's not actually gonna be okay. We're gonna have words later.
You know what really wasn't okay, and I just completely dropped that.
Go for it. I'm with you. Yeah.
No, I'm just emotionally, I'm just all over the place.
Yeah.
What wasn't okay is
tone for this cast, man. I was trying to be super professional.
Yes, not to detract from the moment. Of course, this is a best of 5 to determine the placement of these two teams after the split is huge in a lot of ways. Last time, honestly, played Nah into Hodgson. He went 9-2-9 on that. It was against the Shine Bright's been caught here by the bot lane of Inca Turn, though.
It was a pretty swift flash, though. We'll be lacking that particularly bright summoner spell. It'll be grey and on cooldown for about 5 minutes.
Did get the ward, though. So
that's all that matters.
Everything is worthwhile. That is actually important, though. They know that Platypus not starting on his on his blue buff. Knows that he's probably starting that red buff up in the top side. The outside chance that they had, of course, invaded towards that blue, but with Honest Sleep stuck in that top river was unlikely to happen. That's good early information on the jungle start, and a lot of jungle mains will tell you that early jungle information leads to early jungle pressure for your team. You know where they are.
As a jungle main, I completely concur. I'm there with you. Honest Sleep versus Hodgson, though. Hope Hodgson can survive lane a little better than the last time those two showed up with those particular picks. It was a 4-0 lead in the lane for Honest Sleep the last time around, and the only Honest Sleep was the grey screen that Hodgson was put into repeatedly by that top laner.
It's not about the top lane, though. We are focused currently on the 2v2 on the bottom half of the map. Most AD carries have had HP increases. It means that they have a little bit more margin for error in fights, both aggressively and defensively. Kai'Sa will, of course, be playing mainly quite aggressively alongside the Nautilus. That is the lane of choice alongside Space Vane. gives you that whole load of CC to stack up on Plasma, and Brawl will be trying to shield that Aphelios for all he's worth.
You know, I don't think I'd ever heard the term Space Vein.
Space Vein.
Yeah, I see it. So
It's vein, but space.
Does that make like Aphelios like Moon Vein?
Oh, he doesn't have
Is it like Sailor Moon Vein?
He doesn't have the stacking passive of Metro
that's
the whole point.
I mean,
does
Chakram, if you've got Chakrams, they stack.
The whole idea was that basically Kai'Sa does exactly what Vayne wants to do, but just does it while looking cool.
Yeah, with void empowered things.
Space Vein.
Space Vein.
Yes, that's how it goes. As we see though, early priority over to the Kai'Sa and the Nautilus does mean that the Jarvan has a chance to gank, even though it would mean it would be potentially caught out if Wukong's on that same side of the map. Has double buffs now, has a chance, there's no wards in this bot lane, might be looking for a gank.
Jarvan has headed down towards the bottom Scuttle Crab. There's vision pings coming out. That Jarvan will not find an easy way into that lane. Kraft and Chimebright are shoved up pretty hard right now. And Jarvan retreats back into his jungle, knowing that that gank path is a little difficult for him to pull off.
Yeah, and I like what Hodgson's done. He knows that he can't, well, first off, he knows he can't brawl with the Gnar early anyway. Jarvan knows that he doesn't really want to fight around that top lane and potentially lose a 2v2 to Ice Arrows on the Wukong, pick which he's played a lot in solo queue.
He does, yep, alongside the Vi and the like.
Yeah, I know, alongside the Vi, he loves those engage go buttons. What it means is that Jarvan focuses on the bottom half of the map where he knows that he definitely won't have, as opposed to the top lane where he knows he won't have priority. He can play around that bot lane and potentially look for a bit more.
Speaking of looking for priority, the Raging Platypus is looking for a wily way in here. Can MacMan land a Q? No, just here to help the bot lane shift out. Not a lot to be found there. Mid lane gank though, Yoon does take a bit of damage. Good charm in response though. Ooh, that's a fair amount of damage, but Tower takes tower shots!
Minion aggro!
Oh my days, that was painfully close. I feel if they'd actually put an ignite down there, Yoon could have flashed back in for an ignite, I think.
You know what happened there? He right-clicks behind himself to try and walk away from tower and then just sits auto-attacking the minions. That's where the cursor would have gone. Takes an extra turret shot for it. Flash and ignite from Nari would have done it, but was out of range. Close stuff in this mid lane.
Close. Does force the early recall, though, from both lanes. Wave will be pushing into the Ahri. I think she'll get back before she loses too much CS. And Cassiopeia declines the teleport option.
Okay, so very good timing for Yune there, and unfortunate timing for Ice Arrows and Shadowhopper. That is a cannon wave which has been pushed into tower. Basically, no CS going to be denied from that Ahri, at least in terms of the XP. Could miss some under tower depending on those farming mechanics. So nothing really gained in the mid lane, kind of even.
It will mean an early tier for Shadowhopper, though, which is no bad thing for the Cassiopeia, who does want to stack that up early. So the early back that did get that, can't complain too much on that front, I suppose.
No, you can't complain about that, but however, now you do have that Cassiopeia stacking up, but has no combat stats to speak of. Ahri didn't manage to get the Lost Chapter, that's kind of unfortunate. Ahri has, of course, gone for the Electrocute, going for that 1v1, going for the 2v2, though, in the bot lane.
Here we go, they're going in. Chimebright finds the hook, but their shield comes up. They're going to struggle to find anything that's decent route in response. The Binding Eclipse is down. Stun now onto Chimebright. Remember, there is no flash there, but there is still the Dredge line. Doesn't need it.
And the Conqueror from Aphelios means, though, those auto attacks really slap early on into this game. You get that stacked up, you proc a couple of every abilities and you hit them, get up to those 10 stacks. The Conqueror and Nautilus is feeling the heat.
Feeling the heat is one way of putting it, and with no flash, well, just about to come up actually, rather, but for no flash during that engage, could get a little bit dicey if the concussive blows landed a little bit more as well.
And what I'll really be looking for now is for a big play bot lane in the next couple of minutes from Inca, because you're going to have a double tier trough from the side of 7 Deadly Sins on the Cassiopeia. On the Kai'Sa, it has been a while. It's when we had like Ezreal Corki or something like that in the bot side and mid lane. And then you're going to have a BF sword probably onto the Aphelios, so you're going to have Ahri available with ult, extra damage as well. You can definitely engage with the teleport from Maokai and the Jarvan. This is the point of the game where they're probably strongest comparative to their opponents. Charm misses.
Gonna get a bit of a trade with the Orb of Deception. though. Platypus coming in. That's a flash in to try and get the knockup. Doesn't quite land. Good petrifying guys, but only onto the Braum. Over the wall goes Yoon, and first blood over to Sam Vete. Chimebright is here, but it is too late. Honestly, I believe has teleported down. He's here as
Hodgson's
well.
teleporting.
3v3. In comes Hodgson. It'll be a 5 versus 3. Good knockup now. And the Gnar is nowhere around. The concussive blows land. The Ignite is down. Can they get the kill? It's burning down. Does not flash. Isos gets a slay onto Braum. And actually, the Gnar lives. What is this? They try to get onto Ice Arrows, but it's just the clone.
Oh man. So
I cannot believe the Gnar lives.
Well, it was basically like the dinner bell had been rung there after all things were said. I was talking about the double tier trough. It was Inca turn going for the fight. I appreciate that. It just doesn't stick. The damage is spread across too many members, and Hodgson teleports in a little bit late. Couldn't get there to lock down all those targets. I was very surprised Shine Bright lived there. No Flash was locked up by the Maokai's Twisted Advance.
Did Shine Bright live? They've gone 0-1.
Oh, yeah. So Shine Bright did not live. Shine Bright was the one that died. That's why it was a 1-for-1.
Honest sleep. In fact, it was a 2-for-1.
That's the one. Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's why there are 2 kills.
2 kills indeed.
You said it was a 1-for-1. I can't believe now lived. I'm a bit confused. Anyway, so that fight went in. You don't know we said any mistakes there. It was a good fight from INCA Turn. They're fighting around the right time, something which a lot of teams fail to do. It's a sign of a team looking to win.
That's exactly it. The person who survived was, of course, Honest Sleep. Survived the engage from MacMan coming in, trying to get that Ignite kill. Quite work out. Braun went down for it. But 2 kills is the penance for, of course, the 7 Deadly Sins, who sinned a little hard there and found themselves punished accordingly. That Aphelios, Sam Vete, this guy who is a massive carry member for the side of INCA Turn, up to some early leads as we come into a pause.
Yes, and it will be Ice Arrows just reconnecting. Has that 1 kill, as we were saying, on that Wukong. Potentially getting up to that jungle item a little bit sooner. Also worth noting, Raging Platypus going towards the Warrior, not the Cinderhulk on the Jarvan, looking for the dunks. Means that in a longer team fight, you're probably not going to have that same level of tankiness. But against a Kai'Sa and a Cassiopeia, maybe you think, oh, I wasn't going to survive that long. Anyway, let's try and dunk him.
When you've got 2 frontliners in a Maokai and a Braum anyway, it's running the extra damage, potentially quite useful if your Ahri doesn't always get to that late game monstrosity of other control makers.
It is brave because you do a lot of damage with Cinderhulk Jarvan anyway, because you run Conqueror, Cinderhulk procs enough, your base damage is pretty high as Jarvan. That's what you've been balanced around, you know.
Base damage.
It's been a long time since Jarvan lane has been a thing. No, and that's when you talk more about scaling. It's more about base damage.
Realistically, back to like 2017, I guess.
In fact, we were
reminiscing about it
because so obviously the NALCS has started up again. And there was a perfect game recently, and the last one before that was involving a Jarvan top, which just continually dunks carries.
Cloud9 versus Phoenix One, Raze top lane Jarvan, full damage Jarvan. It was 1,500 ultimate damage coming out of him. Utterly brutal.
Far before Aphelios, but still making the enemy spend 200 years in the death chamber.
Indeed.
Of course, only slightly relevant, but of course, Jarvan has that warrior coming up, and so the dunks will be there in some form or other.
Where is Dunkmaster Jarvan?
That's a very good question. We have Dunkmaster Ivan.
We have got Dunkmaster Ivan,
which is not nearly the same. Really.
Like, yeah, I mean, Ivan is an entertaining champion, but in general, but
I'm not a fan of Ivan. He frustrates me. I mean,
yes, he's very frustrating. I find him from a game design perspective. I find him very interesting.
I mean, for me, from an Ahri main perspective, anything which does well against my main, I do not like.
Is this the reason your abiding hatred of Zoe still exists?
Oh no, Zoe's the whole.
Why about Bard? What's your problem? Actually, we didn't bring that up because I'm assuming like. If we ever end up in an interview with Shine Bright, like there's going to be seriously angry words. This is a Bard main versus your most detested champion of all times.
Bard traffics meeps.
He does traffic.
He collects them. He keeps them hostage.
He
throws them at people.
I know. He weaponizes small innocent creatures and goes hunting through the jungle to find them. It's awful.
Yeah, they can't even hide from him.
No.
And then they're forever kept in his entourage as he throws them at people.
Just the worst. The worst.
No,
almost as bad as junglers with a Krug addiction.
Yeah, don't do Krugs.
Don't do Krugs.
Stay in lane.
Stay in
lane. Krugs.
Don't be a jungler.
That's what we're saying. Of course, we talked about the Wukong having the kills. The 2 kills for the side of INCA Turn. We went over to Sam Vete. That is huge. You're going to get the Infinity Edge up first on this Aphelios. Once he hits 2-3 items, he's nigh unkillable because he'll have, well, if you get 4 items with the Fountain Dancer, Hurricane, Infinity Edge, and Death Dance, like, you're pretty much unkillable. You have ridiculous amounts of damage. And if you reach that before the Kai'Sa who wants to jump into you,
jump into Doom.
Yeah, let me make this very clear. Kai'Sa was meta last year because you could jump onto enemy AD carries and go, hey, I'll kill you. You jump onto something like a Senna or an Aphelios in Season 10, you die.
Yeah.
I don't care for your single target Q. You jump in and Aphelios just turns around on you.
So let's flowchart this out. So Kai'Sa lands W, hits the Aphelios, presses R. What's the next step?
It depends what weapons are. Actually, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter which weapons.
Okay.
Doesn't matter what you want.
It's channeling Rock Johnson. Doesn't matter what you think.
Yeah.
I did that on Castboard Stuff. It's really fun.
I
was like, I'm going to channel my inner Dwayne the Rock Johnson. And I was like, what do you think? And the guy just sat there completely silent. He knew exactly what I was going for. I'm like, guess I'm loving my own reference.
That sounds really unfortunate.
It was.
I'd back you up with that.
I know. That's why I like you.
Yeah,
because you back up my references. Not because you're my brother.
No.
That's it.
The sibling rivalry is real.
Yes. There's a rivalry. Does it count?
I won it long ago. I won it long ago. It's fine.
Well, damn. I'd be. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna flip flop on over to OPGG and have a look at some of the runes there. I can do that. I have the power. I think that live game. Wait, does it actually tell? I was hoping it would let me do the thing and let me go into a live game.
Will it allow you to see the live custom game?
Maybe not. Okay.
No.
Well, no worries. I was gonna be like, hey, I want to check out runes. I
can't check out runes.
Yes,
Can we
I
click
can't
on the
do
champion profiles without telling us?
No,
click
not
on the
at-
portraits on the right.
No, not on pause. You can't. Wait, can you? Wait,
yeah,
you can do it with cooldowns. But you can't do it with
I can see the cooldowns. That's we're seeing Ravenous and Electrocute Ferrari, but that's not really a surprise.
Yes, that's not a surprise. So there are a lot of. Oh no, we do see. Oh no, I do see something. There's okay. Taste of Blood is fine.
Taste of Blood is fine.
On the primary. So Ari's gone for Sorcery Second.
Okay,
that's fine. There are a couple of good things in there. What you're really looking for, though, is Ari as a champion is not really gated by mana, because a lot of the time you're looking at, if you're spamming out your spells...
and you got Lost Chapter.
And you have Lost Chapter, you don't really have mana issues. You're not necessarily cooldown reliant either. You like cooldown reduction, but you get 20% from your combo, and you're not realistically going to get a second charm or a second W off in a fight. So you're looking for ult into... What you can do like a Q trade, or you can dash in with a QW, something like that with your ult, and then you wait out for a couple of seconds, try and land the charm, then you have a second Q up and you have your rest of dashes to follow. So if you take something like Transcendence, it doesn't really give you as much as something like Gathering Storm.
Sure. What
we can see here is mana flow ban's been taken on Ari. That's why I'm kind of a little bit whatever, because you're not really a mana reliant champion. You can reset often enough, you have enough wave clear, you're not normally suffering for mana.
Can I ask
Wukong has to reset its PC, by the way.
Oh dear, has to restart the PC. I know there was internet issues with Ice Arrow, but this is sounding a little bit more serious. Perhaps we are still in this pause, and while we're doing that, maybe we can keep diving in a little bit more.
What? So I can flame builds to buy time.
So I don't know, the reason being is I know you said that like CDR is not necessarily the most valuable thing on Ari, but I know that there's certain Ari mains you've been checking in on. You've been going towards the proto build, which you define to me as a CDR build. Justify yourself.
Okay, no. So when you go Electrocute, you are looking for the burst. When you go Glacial, you go 45% CDR. Right. That's kind of what you do. One of the things to note is that when you max your Charm second, it doesn't actually reduce the cooldown. So as soon as you have one rank in Charm, like that's the highest base cooldown it's going to have, or the lowest as well. It doesn't change. So getting CDR is the only way you get more charms, stuff like that. And it doesn't really matter if you max the second. It increases the charm duration. That's a big one. It's just that when you go Electrocute, it's more about your 100-0 threat. So if someone walks into lane on 80% HP, if you have gone for CDR over AP, you don't have the kill pressure. And you don't have as easy throwaway combos like Syndra EQ, something like that. You throw out a charm, the missile speed is quite low. It's quite hard to hit at max range. So against something like Syndra, it's just,
Ladies and gentlemen, the wait is over. The Ari in-depth conversation will have to wait for another pause if it happens. We'll have to go back into game.
We'll go down that foxhole later.
I mean, in fairness, you're owed at least one after my fairly awful, who joke, which was just awful.
Oh, that was really bad. Okay, worth noting. Of course, used his ult in that. Used that ult in that fight, which did kill off many people from the 2 people, in fact, from the side of 7 Deadly Sins. But it is coming off cooldown now, just in time for this dragon to spawn. It's an Ocean Dragon first. That means it won't be an Ocean Rift, but the Ocean Dragon might go over to the side of Inca turn for pretty much free. It looks like
completely taken without contest. That's kind of the pressure that the Cephalios is kind of earning the squad. And of course, Wukong is up by his blue buff and therefore not around to contest.
No, so just decided, well, we're going to fight that. We talked about the double tier trough. It's still relevant. They are, however, in a 500, 600 gold lead. That's pretty good going. That's pretty okay.
I'm assuming from farm, mainly look at the top lane. That's a huge discrepancy.
And I mean, we talked about, honestly, going 9-2 and 9 on the Gnar versus Hodgson's Urgot. He was 4-0 in lane. That's basically just from solo plays. That was pretty huge. Hodgson's still managing to pick up some farm underneath the turret. Missing out on a little bit, though. He's actually going to miss the turrets. Oh, he's going to miss the cannon, too.
That's really sad. The Gnar is just continuing to throw out the wallops. And the boulder tosses. Raging Platypus is around down under. Makes sense. He is an Australian animal. And see whether he can get something down. Down here. That's a dunk down. That's a lot of damage. Well, Chime Bright taken precipitously low. And that'll be a 3rd kill and a killing spree for the Aphelios.
Triple ults in committed, and also the ignite from Macman does take down Shinebright. Had no flash, still really punishing that summoner cooldown on the Nautilus, and it's led to a 3rd kill for the Aphelios. That win condition we were talking about, that 200 years of damage 80 carry, going to get even further ahead in this game.
200 years is too short to deal with that right now. We're looking as the Wukong comes up to try and prevent a bit of a tower push, but it's already 2 plates have gone down, and that gold lead is significantly shrunk.
So, it's a bit of back and forth trading in the mid lane as well, but no jungle is present to start tipping those scales. We could see some 1v1s coming out, depending on how bold these mid laners are feeling.
Honestly, thinking about it, it's not quite close enough to get serious damage, but...
There was a change to Gnar a while ago now that basically meant that his ult cooldown is very low.
Yeah, it's non-existent.
It's non-existent. Effectively, it's just
well, I'm joking.
What that means is that every time you transform into Mega Gnar, you pretty much have your ult back. So you can use it for push, you can use it for wave play, use it for whatever. He's not a mana champion either. He doesn't care about that. He doesn't have to spend 100, 150 mana if you're an older champion as well on some of this on your ultimate, which means that you're pretty fine to just throw it out like that. Didn't even take a tower aggro.
Hodgson has to be a little careful here as well, just in the fact that he's relatively low on mana and he's got no teleport. So if he leaves that lane for a great length of time, he could well lose his tower pretty easily here to this hyper-accelerated Gnar.
Oh yeah, another thing about going for mana flow and transcendence on Ahri is
that
when you hit level 9, if you've not been farming very well and you don't have as much XP or mana, or AP, you can't clear backline at level 9. That's really big because it means that against something like Cassiopeia, where you don't really want to be stood in the way for a very long time because you can't have a direct charm through because obviously the wave blocks it. If a Q lands, because you've stood around for a bit too long, you take a really bad trade.
That's worth keeping an eye on. The backline minion clear is a really big breakpoint for a lot of majors.
Should be okay this game, but it can happen.
But it can happen. So yeah, that actually is worth clarifying. This is unlikely to happen this game. The Lost Chapter's up, farming fairly well, got the 2 assists. It's down a little bit in CS, but that was the kind of a Nautilus being in lane for a little bit there, all that kind of jazz.
Should really just change my job title from Color Caster to Ahri Caster.
Yes, Ahri Caster with occasional useful points about the rest of the game.
Everything is in relation to my main. Do you see this bot lane stack still? The TV2 is still going strong, but nothing really happening besides those outside interferences happening in that bot lane. Damn junglers.
Damn junglers and their interfering camping ways. It's a slight CS lead here for Sam, and it's a big hook actually. This Aphelios flashing out, but the killer instinct goes over the back, and Kraft looking to shut down Samvetti. There's a big bounty on the board, and name her Misfortune. She's Space Pirate as well. That's a big cash in.
It's a big cash in. It's a big mistake from the bot lane of INCA turn. The 2 bot lane members walk away from each other, but that's not going to be the important thing. Solo kill for the cast.
All right, and there's a bot lane play still going on. MacMan is trying to get in, but he's stuck behind. There's a dunk on Gravity, flashes out, taken super low, but does go down.
Teleport.
The angriest of all Australian animals does come around, but Shine Bright takes revenge on the Braum and gets another kill down there. Honest Sleep flashing over the wall, and let's see. Sleep tight, sweet prince, says Honest Sleep. And it's grayscale for the Jarvan, or not. Currently still alive, but Shine Bright sticks the score up to 2, 2, and 2. Much better play out of 7 Deadly Sins there. That will be 3 uncontested kills around the map.
That's, well, not unfortunately uncontested because, of course, Kraft did die to the Jarvan in that fight.
Sorry, I apologize.
So at least the Kai'Sa doesn't manage to stick around and pick up that farm. But yes, it is 2-2 and 2 on the Nautilus. A death for that. Aphelios does, I believe the shutdown went over to the Kai'Sa.
It did, yeah.
Which is big. We saw the Mana Moon was available. Now has the Berserker Greaves as well. I would have potentially gone for another pickaxe. Gets you to that Q upgrade quicker. But, of course, the extra safety of the movement speed from Berserker Greaves is always appreciated. We also saw the 1v1 in the mid lane. That's what happens when you get hit by a couple more things as you want. Oh, it's a lot of tower shots.
Oh, that's tilt.
That might be the mental game just kind of slipping away from Samvetti there.
Question mark pings around the map for that one, surely.
Presumably, yes. Second death of the game for somebody who's looking like he was in a really good position on the Aphelios.
As the dragon spawning as well.
As the dragon spawns
That is just bad timing. You need to be actually very careful here. But that's a boomerang blade that's come in as well. There's a charm onto Shadow Hopper. Petrifying Gaze comes out, but MacMan has the door up, and we'll just get to walk away with a swift turnaround. About face saves their lives. Yeah, an INCA turnaround. But 3,000 gold lead. Blue Tame slays the dragon as well. So that's a stop the dragon stacking. You know, the first one went over to INCA turn, but the second certainly won't.
And the worst thing is, this just stalls the game out for 7 Deadly Sins from the perspective of INCA turn. We can see that Yunus trying to... Oh, he does actually manage to get Shine Bright under tower there, but it's not enough. There's not enough HP on the tower.
Here we go again. Shadow does have to flash out, but that means it's easy pickings for Yun, who comes in with an Ignite, but there's healing coming in from the Conqueror. Raging Platypus does get the kill. 2, 1, and 3 for the repositioned mid laner.
He's failed a couple of Jarvan flag drag flashes. He's managed to unfortunately not land those a couple of times, but he's still had all kill participation on his team. He's doing very well. Obviously, walking into those shoes of Bauer, which we did cast a number of times, I was relatively impressed by him. Doing okay on the job. Doing all right, just fine.
Doing just fine. It is Black Cleaver complete for this Gnar, though, and that's more than just fine. Blue team turret is destroyed. That will mean first turret over to Inca, taking it out in the bot lane. At some point as well, during all the chaos, there was a Rift Herald that went down and was summoned.
Yes,
somewhere.
it was summoned in mid lane.
There we go, and I assume that's what took down the turret HP.
Yes, and that's why.
Did you mention that? I was kind of distracted.
No, I noticed it, and then did my thing. Honestly, taking a lot of damage here from the Maokai, but the Maokai ult does not land, and we'll get out scot-free.
That's what Hop can do for you. The root lands.
Oh, he doesn't get
a minor kilometer away though, so not gonna be able to follow that up. Just a brief half a lane away.
Well, presumably all kilometers are the same. What's a minor kilometer?
One that's not actually a kilometer, but is being used as an adjective to offer some symbolic.
A large distance.
A large distance, exactly. It's supposed to be kind of descriptive.
Interesting.
I think
it's descriptive of your vocabulary.
Wow.
Vocabulary.
Is that an insult? Because I'm not going to take it as well.
Sure. Okay, all right. Back into the thick of things, we are left with a 2,000 gold lead for the side of 7 Deadly Sins. It's 15 minutes in. Normally, that's a significant advantage. Language? No. It's an Infernal Rift. Also worth noting.
Vocabulary references I can
no,
make.
hang on, that's not what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be here to know things.
Ah.
That's what I do. I drink and I know things. Channeling my inner Lannister. One of the things that happened on the last patch, terrain has changed on the rifts, various rifts. Infernal rifts have extra blast cones. We can see them near the Gromp. That's one thing which happens there.
Near the base gates as well.
Yes, there are. So,
back doors. That's what I really care about.
Well, potentially there are more ways over walls, more ways to start getting flanks, and flanks are something which this Wukong will very much like. The Gnar will very much like. Lots of ways to potentially get on top of the Aphelios, which has not been as practiced for.
It also means you can basically play Mario from your base to any given uber buff pit. You can hop from base gate to wolf camp to normal blast plan and then out to the river pretty much. Like that's the kind of chain you can follow. It means actually your mobility and speed back to things can be pretty huge.
You know what's also pretty huge? The fact that we had, of course, this lead for Sanvete on the Aphelios. He's now behind gold. Wukong's going into the top lane though. See if Hodgson can make it out.
Snakes and monkeys are a pretty terrifying combo in the jungle. Turn out, put a lot of damage down onto Hodgson. The Aphelios and the Braum are up there, but there's a fight down in this bot lane. Honestly, going for a 1v1 versus the Ahri.
I don't know if he wants that.
Yeah, it's a pretty even trade, and the heal back from the passive of Ahri was pretty huge. Oh my days, that crossed his model.
Flash Charm might have secured that with the Ignite there as well. I think, could definitely have committed harder to that. But of course,
that's rough.
Not knowing where everyone else... Actually, no, you did know where everyone else is.
You did.
They just showed top lane, but maybe just a bit of fear there. We saw a couple of, that unfortunate solo death in the mid lane there. Just maybe the first game jitters.
Yeah, Iron Maiden said it best. Fear of the dark is a real thing. Don't walk into dark corners, but at the same time, you kind of saw where most of the squad was. Maybe, of course, there might have been a bit of vision discrepancy. You couldn't see where people were.
You don't know what's happening in comms either.
Yeah, exactly. All of that.
If people are shouting about, hey, everyone's top lane, maybe you're not thinking about taking your own fights. And that's something, which is one of those intangibles. Now we have a coalition of everyone going up into this top lane to start off this Herald. Ahri has no ult, has Flash, has Ignite. This could be a big fight.
So there's Gravitum available for Sanvete, but there goes the Flash! Cyclone, and the inclement weather means that Kraft slays the AD carry of Inca one more time, and the fight is continuing. There's a fair amount of healing. Ice arrows taken pretty low, but it's a double kill now for Kraft, who is putting the work in these fights. Honestly, gets charmed, but it is a full retreat now from Inca. 2 for 0, and a good, clean fight from the side of 7 Deadly Sins. Not giving in to the sin of greed, and come out cleanly there.
And it is a retreat from Inca, but they leave 2 of their own on the floor. It was Raging Platypus and Sanvete dying in that fight. Aphelios, after going 3-0, ended up at 3-3, finding it very hard to stay alive in these last couple of fights. Through the strong engage there around Herald. We see what's going to come from this team. And they're not even at 2 items yet.
Not even at
They don't have a Muramana on Kaisip. You don't have a Rage Play. You don't have your second item from the Cassiopeia. This is going to get
from the Cassiopeia.
This is going to get a lot worse for Inca.
It's going to get a lot worse, and with an Infernal Rift on the board as well to add on to the fairly monolithic damage numbers that a Cassiopeia, Kai'Sa, and Wukong can put out. Could get pretty scary, but the contest will be in for Inca.
I often get told I don't have eyes, but I'm pretty sure I saw a flash into a bush from Raging Platypus.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's, and I believe everyone saw it, because there was a ward in that brush.
Oh, that's rough. Hodgson's up pretty high on the Gnar bar here as well. We're going to see where there's a bit of engage.
Okay,
Inca
so there's no Fellow Assault. Chimbra's walked into this,
man.
though.
Does kind of avoid that. Engage,
Oh my
though, coming
God.
in. And once again, the petrifying engage leaves Inca turn stunned, at a loss for words. And we're going to watch Ice Arrow go in as well. It's not going to matter because Craft is there. And that was once again another fantastic fight for 7 Deadly Sins. 4-0 Infernal Drake. And the monkey, the snake, and actually, speaking of the snake, she's trying to go for another kill. Not quite enough. I feel maybe a flash and a twin fang might have got it.
Potentially, yes.
I didn't see what the charm cooldown was at, in fairness.
Well, either way, probably had the HP to dive that. Of course, you don't always know. And
Seraph's
you
is
might,
still available.
and of course, having a flash and a Cassiopeia for defensive fights is nice. Speaking of defensive fights, anything but that for 7 Deadly Sins. A huge miasma, a huge gnaw into a huge petrifying gaze. It was a walk in a park, and unfortunately, for Inca, that park was Lincoln Park, because in the end, it didn't
didn't matter, yeah.
It didn't matter. It was another death over to Sanbeti, and another death over to everyone but Yune, in fact. He was, yes, they are the only person to make it out of that fight.
That's one way of putting it. Only person to come out. It's now 3 turrets to 1. It is now 7,000, nearly 8,000 gold lead for 7 Deadly Sins. And this Aphelios that was 3-0 is now 3-4. This Jarvan that was 2-1-3 is now 2-3-3. They're just not finding clean fights, whereas the rest of it, 7 Deadly Sins, really, really are.
What I need to see from Inca is that they need to just calm down, and it might not happen this game. Like I said, game 1, like I said, is probably not where you want to judge this series, because they lost bans. They're against the side choice of 7 Deadly Sins as well. Take this on the shoulder. Try and not let it get to you. We saw some really good things in the first couple of minutes of this game. Try and recover from this. Just settle down. Look for the fights we really want to. If you can peel for Sanbete, he almost has himself his Renown's Hurricane. That'll be a really big item power spike. You can peel around with Charms, with Cataclysms, with the Maokai CC as well. There's a way into this game, but still, don't take it too badly. Don't take it personally. It's just a hard game 1.
Just a hard game 1. That's one way of putting it. There are CS discrepancies in every lane right now, apart from in support, which doesn't really matter on the same level. We've got a 6, 1, and 3 Kai'Sa with Muramana, with Rageblade, with a Stinger, and nearly that Nash's Tooth in inventory. They've got the second Rift Herald summon in mid lane. They've got Demolish Box. They might not even need it to take down that mid lane tier 2. They're not. The Sentinel turret goes down. The Rift Herald is going to probably get a shunt in onto. Maybe not, because here comes the engage. Crash does get dunked, but of course, Killer Instinct is good as a defensive tool as well. The Spidey, or at least Void Senses with Tingling, gets out scot-free.
Okay, so inner turret down for Inca, but the Herald will not push on into that middle inhibitor turret. The ultimate way from Kai'Sa is nice. That's one of their aggressive tools that they can use, and of course, it was used defensively there. Trading that for the Platypus. Not the Platypus, the Cataclysm. Yeah. That would be a very strange name.
It is a cataclysmic platypus, though. That would actually be a really wonderful name. Raging Platypus, if you're going to be a Jarvan main, that's it. This is it. This is going to be your Smurf account.
Well, honestly, he smurfed on the early game.
He did really well.
I'm very impressed by, the 2-1 and 3 scoreline in the right places at the right time. Led to a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I just have more concerns about the mid game, where they have kind of failed pretty much every group together fight outside of that early decent skirmish around the Raptor pit.
And this is something which a lot of teams will, particularly of this level, will find themselves in, is that they feel the, that clarion call to, it is 20 minutes. It is time to group. Laning phase is over. Jungle phase is over. Jungle phase is over.
That's exactly it. Once you've cleared once, you're done. You join the lanes, and you never leave again.
Yeah, go have a party.
I join Nymeira's Aryan lane, and I take all this fun.
You do not do that.
I do.
I leave the game. I do not return. I uninstall League of Legends.
This was my aim all along. Cunning.
Yes. Worth noting, Cassiopeia now has a Rylai's as well. We were talking about, Inca, they're going to have some similar issues as 7 Deadly Sins will do in terms of the engage and how they are disengaged from it. That Rylai's will make things even more difficult, because if you're hit by a Cassio, if you hit by the W as well, this already got a large slow on it. You are going to be slowed for just the largest amount, and particularly for the Maokai and the Jarvan, means you're not going to be able to stick to your targets. It means that damage probably won't come through. There's a 1v2 happening in the bot lane. This could be interesting.
But we're going to see the Hyperprox come in, and Chimebright's walking around the corner as well, and not walks away. It's a brief love tap of that. What Raging Platypus does get a knock up here onto Craft, but the Killer Instinct still back up, and a flash out of the Platypus instead this time. The hyper procs are stacking on Hodgson, who's taking about half HP. Macman steps forward, going Macman mode, trying to find something, but can't quite get a concussive blow stack. It's runs out. Gravity is here, but he gets knocked up instead. Step too far forward. Honest Sleep decides to put that Aphelios into the ground, and Sleep is exactly what it is. Kraft is dominating 7-1 and 4, continuing to step forward. Concussive blows mean nothing. It's a double for the Snake as well. Another 4 for 1 this time around. The Monkey did fall. Wukong is dead. But again, this is as the Infernal Drake is about to spawn. Inca turn get shredded out of their wings. They are flightless in this game.
Yeah, and normally I'd say good night, sweet prince. But if I was really bad at pronunciation, I might say good night, Samvit Prince. He goes down for his 5th death of the game on the Aphelios. At least gets the 1 assist onto the Wukong. But we were talking about how Aphelios is the core of this team comp. It is Aphelios or die.
Yeah.
If Aphelios dies, you really don't have much to continue the fight. That's what happened there again. 7-1-5 now is the Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa, you know, it's like, oh, Kai'Sa jumps onto an Aphelios. So Kai'Sa dies. Not when you're 2 levels up with 3 items to 1. Well, 3 items to 2. That ain't how it works.
That ain't how it works. What it does mean, though, is that it's Infernal Soul, and that is how it works right now for 7 Deadly Sins. They are 1 away from a fairly powerful soul, which will have 3 Infernal Drakes to back up that pretty savage damage they can put out.
Is it interesting at all to you that, you know, all of these damage people will have more damage?
Well, let's go across the board. It's Blade of the Ruined King, Black Cleaver, Nearly Death Dance for... No. It is Trinity Force Warrior for Wukong. It is 3-item Cassiopeia. It is 3-item Kai'Sa. Yes, I think adding damage to those particular items sounds like a good deal for 7 Deadly Sins.
Let's have a look. Let's check on the Kai'Sa stats. 200 AD, 160 AP as well. Also, I mean, Kai'Sa is a hybrid champion. You don't get adaptive stats from the Infernal Dragon. Remember, it's actually just a straight 6%, I believe, stats of both of them. You know, it's your AP and your AD.
Massively more impactful on the Kai'Sa.
Exactly. And Kai'Sa gets access to both of those stats. We'll be building up towards, of course, has the Nash's Tooth. Looks like probably going towards something like a Hurricane.
Stolen the blue buff. There's the win.
Okay,
Macman has wanted to turn it all around. There is the term we were looking for.
Showing us for game 2, where Inca will take the 1-0 lead over 7 Deadly Sins in the battle of the blue buffs.
The wattle, yes.
The wattle of the blue buffs.
But that's not what it will be, because we're being facetious. Because 7 Deadly Sins would have to throw in fairly catastrophic fashion to lose this game at this point. They are so far ahead.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There is a chance, but it's a 1% chance. But maybe this is where it starts. Shine Bright has had to flash. The Binding Eclipse came down, but wasn't enough damage at this point. The re-engage, though, was from miles away, but Shine Bright might have gone too deep. She might well fall here. This Nautilus trying to stay alive. The engage again from Yoon, who's got locked up. A Shadow Hopper is here on a rampage, and the Twin Fangs bite deep. The Killer Instinct did as well, and that was a last desperate engage, and it comes to naught. The 7th deadly kill comes in from Shadow Hopper, and they'll push into the base. There's a Baron alive, and the hopes that were faint, fleeting for Inca turn, look all but absent now.
And Inca, if you want to take legal action against Initialize for saying that's where the comeback starts, you can do that at any time you wish.
I mean, let's be real. I was trying desperately to find a silver lining. It just wasn't there.
And for not the first time in the game, they tried, and it did not matter. This will be the first game going over to 7 Deadly Sins.
It will be the first game, and of course, as the last desperate engage comes in for Radiant Platypus, it's all over. Let's see the highlights, and we'll be back to talk about it after. Well, ladies and gents, we're back after 7 Deadly Sins. Take a pretty even early game and slam it in the mid game. It was a very convincing win.
It was, and honestly, Inca were about as broke as my client was there, actually, because I couldn't check the damage graph. It was no. In fairness, Inca, of course, we said they came into this game, they lost the first 3 bans, they didn't have side choice, they came in having suffered a 2-0 loss to 7 Deadly Sins in the regular split as well. We weren't expecting game 1 to be, you know, in their favor. Of course, there are things to work off of here. You know, I think I think that Platypus did fine on the Jarvan. I think that the kills they got onto the Cassiopeia in the mid game, particularly when they fought around that double tier trough, I was impressed by them. There are things to work with there, but they're going to have to bring it back for game 2 because 7 Deadly Sins, like you said, it wasn't even close at the end of it.
Yeah, and I have got to call out Samvete a little bit here. I'm looking at his damage numbers here, and he is less than the enemy Nautilus. He's just over the enemy Wukong. He is less damage than his Maokai, his Jarvan, his Ahri after a 3-0 start. He got caught in pretty much every major team fight, and that's not good enough if you're going to get that.
However, on the other side of that, to be caught, someone has to catch you.
Yes.
And for me, I think that Shine-Bright, the hooks were great, particularly in that fight around the round buff there.
Such a good one. My days, miles out.
Yeah, after burning the flash on the first kind of poke into that red buff there, I mean, that was a great hook. We also saw the same thing around that last dragon fight for the ace as well. Just everything went to crap off of one hook, and that's the power that Nautilus has, and you know, she played it very well.
Early flash burned on an invade for reward. It did not matter. Shine-Bright and the rest of 7 Deadly Sins are 1-0 up in this best of 5 series. We'll be back for game 2 after this break.